Hi, y'all. We're here. We're back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes!
Roll the tape. Good evening. Welcome to the November 16th scheduled Valley View School Board meeting. I would like to ask everybody to rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Vice President Zach. When you're ready, Vic. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty. Thank you. Since we're meeting virtually and we have people spread out all over the community and some here, Vic, I would ask you to read the board affirmation statement as well.
Our mission is to empower all learners to be college, career, and life ready, and to develop, grow, and achieve as productive citizens.
Yes, President Quigley, I ask that you approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Can you guys hear us?
No.
They've got a hearing. Well, somebody can hear. Yeah, you must be here because we said no.
You're the only one we can hear, Steve.
There we go. We have a motion. We need a second.
I can hardly hear Steve.
Yeah,
How about that?
that's better.
Okay,
better.
you can hear me now. All right, we have a
That's real
motion
good.
and a second. JT, did you second the motion?
No, but I will.
Okay,
Second.
JT, Vic and
Motion.
JT,
JT?
to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Ayes have it. Mr. Gazafi, Treasurer's Report, if you would please.
Treasurer's Action Report 5.1 includes interim obligation payments as well as debt service payments. Total obligations, $38,918,403.57 for your action.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, a roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
Treasurer's
Bills.
Action Report 5.2 is the schedule of bills for the month of November. We've got 6 funds representing total bills payable of $3,622,027.59.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Member Campbell, second by Member Sikora. Is that correct?
No, Sikora and Pero.
Sikora and Pero. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Pero,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
yes,
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
We've got
Gary?
Treasurer's Information Report, Summary of Investments, 5.3, Property Taxes Received, 5.4, the State Funding Update, 5.5, as well as the Student Trust Accounts, 5.6. Just a quick note on 5.4, which is the taxes received. You'll notice that through October, we're running about 1 percentage point behind where we were at this time last year. This Thursday, November 19th, we shall receive our November distribution, at which time I think we'll have a better sense of where we stand with collections year over year, give us a better idea of if there is any lag, and again, where we stand. We'll have one more distribution again in December. That one shouldn't be as large as the one that we should receive here on Thursday, so just stay tuned for that.
Thank you, Mr. Grazavi. Appreciate that. Consent agenda items. Ms. Kinder.
Yes, sir. We are seeking your approval on 5 agenda items under consent this evening. 6.1, board meeting minutes from October 15th, 2020. 6.2, executive session meeting minutes, October 15th, 2020. 6.3, gifts to Kenneth L. Hermanson Elementary School, Romeoville High School, and Valley View School District. 6.4, IGA, intergovernmental agreement with Plainfield District 202 Vision Itinerant. And 6.5, student activity contract approval request, Humphrey Middle School with Butterbraid.
Is there a motion?
so moved. Second,
Motion by Member Pero, second by Member Campbell. No?
Sikora and Campbell.
Sikora and Campbell. It's hard to see. Hey, could you guys do me a favor? Just raise your finger if you're going to make a motion so we can at least see who it is. Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If not, a roll call vote would be in order, please.
Member Pero,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
yes,
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. On the agenda, AP scholars from Bolingbrook High School and Romeoville High School.
Yes, typically we would invite our students to come to be recognized for their outstanding academic achievement. So tonight we just wanted to display the names of our 217 students from Bolingbrook High School who have been awarded this recognition of AP Scholar, and also our 112 students from Romeoville High School. And so the names, although you can't see them quite so well, they're displayed on the screen. We did want to take a moment to congratulate our 329 Valley View School District students who have recently been named by as AP Scholars by the College Board. This is for advanced placement. This program offers several AP Scholar Awards to recognize high school students who have demonstrated college-level achievement through AP courses and exams. And so while they're not able to be here with us this evening, we would like to publicly recognize them for their outstanding academic achievement, and also give recognition to our staff, our teachers who continue to grow and support our students to not only increase enrollment in our courses, but participation in taking the exams to record levels for Valley View School District. And our students continue to make us proud. So congratulations to our Bolingbrook High School students, and then I'd like to also display our Romeoville High School students who are being recognized as well as either AP Scholar with Honor, AP Scholar with Distinction, or National AP Scholar. And so our numbers continue to grow in those areas, and it's not just data or numbers, it is our students who continue to do outstanding things with their achievement, and our amazing staff who continues to grow the program and support them. So congratulations to our Bolingbrook and Romeoville High School students.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, the R.C. Hill Elementary Multi-Needs Team Professional Excellence Award.
Yes, this is another outstanding achievement that we would like to recognize this evening for our RC Hill Elementary School multi-needs team. We had the opportunity to visit the team last week at RC Hill Elementary School to meet with the teachers, support staff, related service staff, paraprofessionals, administration, and Member Zach accompanied us on that trip, as did Member Perro, for us to offer our appreciation for their hard work. Member Zach said a few words to the team, and then we did have a chance to talk with Mrs. Wynarski, our teacher in this classroom. So we'll go ahead and just show you a quick video from our visit.
I wanted to take this opportunity to thank you, Lauren Winarski, the teachers, the support staff who work with our most fragile and vulnerable learners. I commend you because I know it hasn't been easy. I know that you prepared for one thing and you had to make many adjustments along the way. But you did it because you are part of a caring Valley View School District family. So again, my most heartfelt thanks for all of you, each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last year, our Assistant Director, Nicole Clausen, had nominated our team consisting of the teacher, the paraprofessionals, and the related service providers for the McLean Yoder Award, which recognizes teams that work with students that have significant disabilities and communication disorders. It takes a village to do what we do. We feel incredibly blessed to have the team that we do, and I say that with all sincerity. We have a wonderful team that has a lot of heart, truly cares about all of these kids, and works their tails off every day to make sure that they have the best education.
Thank you.
This national award, I did just want to acknowledge, this is a very distinguished national award. And the notes from the committee, the National Joint Committee that acknowledged our team here in Valley View, was that they uphold the high principles of care espoused and modeled by the two research for whom the award was named, the collaborative team-based services for children with special needs offered throughout a diverse and engaged school district. And we're privileged to see the hard work of this team amongst many of our other special program teams that are working very hard day in and day out for our kids. So their heart for our children, coupled with the skill and dedication to inclusive practice and student success, is certainly a gift to our kids, our families, and the entire Valley View community. So we'd like to congratulate the RC Hill Multi-Needs team on earning this special national recognition. Thank you.
Yay. Moving down the agenda, board liaison reports. Let's do the folks that are on the video. So Deb?
The only one I have is that the planning committee has talked a lot. We have met once since I think the last time, but a lot of phone conferences, and we hope this is for the best for the kids and for the staff also.
Diane?
No report.
Liz?
No report.
JT?
No report.
Thank you. I do have a report. So as you're aware, there was an election a couple weeks ago. On the ballot for the state of Illinois was the graduated income tax amendment, also known by some as the fair tax, which would have shifted from a flat tax to a graduated tax based on your earnings and income. The state budget passed in May was predicated on a passage of that amendment. That being said, it failed. The state of Illinois now has an immediate impact of probably in the neighborhood of $1.3 to $1.5 billion in shortfalls. When you couple that with lost revenues due to business shutdowns and all kinds of other things, the real impact is probably in the neighborhood of $4.2 billion. Education, the only way they're going to figure this out is A, they're going to have to probably raise some revenue someplace and make cuts someplace. The state of Illinois, as I've always said, doesn't fund education properly, but we in the education business are probably not going to be exempt from those cuts. Gary is aware of this. Our Springfield folks sent a note on what they think may happen. Of the discretionary spending of the state budget, so $25.6 billion, education accounts for about $10.8 billion of those dollars. So if there are going to be cuts made, we may have to tighten our belts. Hopefully they will be minimal, and hopefully education will be left alone from any draconian type cuts. But they do have a revenue problem. I don't think this is going to be nearly as significant as what it was a few years ago when the economy was completely in the tank, but we're still going to have to be conscious of what we are or not receiving from the state of Illinois. Hopefully, if there is hopefully not cuts, but we maybe also have to face a reduction of monies that were owed. So if they do some kind of formulary rate type of situation where we're just say for numbers, let's say we're owed $10 million, but we only get $7 million, we may get that money, but we don't know how long it'll take. And we have, as a district, been owed $10, $12 million by the state of Illinois since 2004. So we can't always count on recovering all the monies, and at some point you just have to take it off the books. So we're aware, as a school district, we're in a much better position than a lot of other districts because the people that are on TV and the people sitting up here, people in our administration and finance have taken our financial picture very seriously over the years, and we are good stewards, hopefully, of the people's money, or at least we think we are. And we're in a good position financially to weather some of this storm, but the state of Illinois has some serious hills to climb. Also, they, as you know, or maybe you don't know, they canceled the scheduled veto session, which would be beginning tomorrow through Thursday, and in the second week of November, or first week of December, I think they would be coming back. Those have been canceled. The state of Illinois has now, because you're shifting to the 102nd General Assembly, starting in January, they have a handful of days, what are also known as lame duck session days, that they can do veto session work and lame duck session before the January 13th sitting of the 102nd General Assembly. So there is some time for them to take some action. It's not going to be a good situation for some, some folks in this government realm of having to make cuts and what have you. And the governor has indicated that cuts will be coming, and that he is calling the legislative leaders together to discuss how they're going to facilitate those cuts. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this, and we will continue to do so. So that's my 2 cents worth. Moving down the agenda, audience participation. Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to address the board this evening? Seeing none, hearing none. Ms. Kinder, action report.
No report.
Thank you. Ms. White, board policies.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, so 11.1, we are seeking your approval for information previously presented, seeking your approval on board policies. We've got about 4 of them. 7.90 addresses release during school hours. 7.160 student appearance, dress code. 7.310 restrictions on publications, elementary schools. And finally, 8.110 community relations, public suggestions and concerns.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Ms. Campbell. Motion seconded by Ms. Campbell. Any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. A roll call vote, please.
Member Badouris? Member Campbell?
Yes.
Member Perro?
Yes.
Member Badouris? Can you hear me?
He's on mute.
Secretary Sikora?
Yes.
Vice President Zach?
Yes.
President Quigley?
Yes.
Member Badouris, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Are you an aye vote?
I didn't hear what the question was, sorry.
Board policies, section 11.1 on the agenda.
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Next, Ms. White.
11.2, a new course proposal, Introduction to Topics of Oppression and School Justice. Last time I presented the information, this time I'm seeking approval.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none,
Yes,
hearing none.
I just want,
Oh,
I
sorry.
do. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I just wanted to make it known that we had a lot of discussion last week, and we were talking about individuals, the young people that will be taking these classes, and that we don't want them to be prejudiced or biased in helping them to make their decisions. So I wanted to be known that when Sally shared her information, that we, the board, do take into consideration her thoughts and her minds, and also so that she would feel comfortable sharing as if we want the young people to do, that everybody has a voice and that her voice was heard also.
Thank you. We have a motion and second. If there's no further discussion, a roll call vote would be in order.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Moving down the agenda, tax levy, Gary Grisafi.
Good evening. In accordance with the Truth in Taxation Act, the district must officially determine and adopt a tentative tax levy at least 20 days prior to the final adoption of the levy. If the increase of the 2020 levy is in excess of 105% of the previous year's aggregate extension, with the exception of debt service, a public hearing must be held on said levy. In the case of the 2020 levy request, that increase will again be capped at 2.3%, or the CPI for the 12-month trailing index for 2019, exclusive of existing debt service. The extension is going to be formulated at a higher amount due to the fact that the equalized assessed valuation, or EAV, and new property values are unknown to us at this time. The tentative levy that's been prepared is not in excess of 105% of last year's extension. Therefore, we are not required to publish a notice of tax levy. Tonight, we're going to ask that you adopt a resolution that sets the estimated 2020 levy, and on December 14th, we'll ask you to adopt the final 2020 tax levy. In the packet is a number of exhibits, beginning with the equalized assessed valuation history, giving you 10 years of the growth of the EAV in the district. I've estimated the 2020 property tax exemptions and tax objections to be approximately $294.5 million, which reduces our overall equalized assessed value. Exhibit 2 is the comparative analysis of the prior year's extension and the proposed tax levy. Exhibits 3 through 3.4 are the projected tax rates and extension scenarios. I've provided 3 scenarios providing for a less than anticipated EAV, an estimated EAV based on historical averages, and an EAV that is greater than anticipated. Again, these scenarios are provided due to the unknown valuation of EAV of property within the district. And finally, we've got a consumer price index 10-year history chart. Gives you an idea of what the CPI has been, our consumer price index. 10-year average has been 1.8%, which is the exact same as the 5-year average of 1.8%. One thing I did want to make note of is that the monthly CPI for 2020, which will determine what the levy will be for 2021, appears to be plodding along at a little over 1%. With the current pandemic upsurge, we could negatively impact the economy for a second time in 2020. If we do see values dropping in November and December, similar to what we saw during the first round of economic shutdowns, we could see any CPI growth wiped out, and we could be looking at a CPI related to tax caps into 0.3 to 0.4% or even less, which again would determine what happens for next year. Overall, based on my estimates, we are asking for a 2.98% increase in operational funds, a 1.08% increase in debt service. Overall levy is a 2.61% ask. Again, this is more than we know we will most likely receive. My best guess is that we would be at around a 2.38% year-over-year increase overall in the tax levy. And so with that, I am asking you to approve the resolution number 2105, which determines the 2020 tax levy.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and second. Member Campbell? Member Perro, Member Campbell. Liz got her finger up first. Thank you. Is there any questions or discussion of Gary? I know you guys have taken a look at some of this, but if you have any questions. Hearing none, seeing none. A roll call vote would be in order.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Vic was a yes. I'm a yes as well. I can't hear you right now, but I see you nodding your head.
Got it.
There you go. Thank you. Employee benefits renewal. Gary?
Yes, we've got several components related to our third-party administration for our benefits renewal. Happy to report that all of it is definitely favorable. On the health front, the third-party administration for our self-funded health and dental plans is provided by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois. They provided a decrease in our administration fees, as well as an increase in our wellness credit, as well as an increase in our prescription rebates from last year. And so overall, a combined decrease of 42.3% for the 2021 plan year, which is January to December. In the dental area, they've provided a renewal with a 6% decrease in the dental administration rates. Vision, we would be removing our vision care from iMed. We had a 3-year contract with them. We'll be moving it to Blue Cross as well. They provided a 1.8% decrease from the current contract, expiring contract. And so that's a good thing as well. Our stop loss, specific stop loss for individual claims will remain at $270,000. We went out to market. Alliant, who's our broker, went out to market. We had 9 carriers respond with only 2 really competitive options to be considered. And Blue Cross Blue Shield, who is our incumbent carrier, quoted a rate reflecting a 2% decrease over the expiring year. With life, AD&D, which is accidental death and dismemberment, as well as long-term disability, we'll be moving that from Liberty Mutual, who we were on a 3-year contract with, again over to Blue Cross. Overall, everything is kind of bundled together. And our fixed costs are estimated to decrease by 31.9% for the 2021 calendar year. So again, really a very favorable renewal. Again, these costs are just fixed costs. There's about, it was going from about $2 million of fixed costs down to $1.38 million. So again, a rather sizable decrease, $650,000. But this is a very small component of our overall cost for benefits when you factor in the claims, which us being self-funded, those claims all revert to us, and those claims are estimated to increase by 5.3%, which is a trend, a medical trend, going from overall fixed cost and claims from roughly just 30.6 million to 32.2 million. So again, overall fixed costs going down by just under 32%. And so with that, we would recommend that the renewal of Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois as our third-party administrator for health and dental plans effective January 1st, 2021 be approved, as well as recommend renewing our specific stop loss coverage with Blue Cross Blue Shield and entering into a 3-year contract with Blue Cross for vision, life, AD&D, and long-term disability as presented.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. It's great news, Gary. Thank you. A roll call vote would be in order.
Member Badouris,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
Bringing the bid results of for 2 3/4 ton 4x4 pickup trucks. We're replacing 2 vehicles, which combined are roughly 46 years old, with Between the two, have 231,000 miles on them. We've got four bids, 3 of which are somewhat in the ballpark. But we are recommending that we award the purchase of these 2 3/4-ton pickups to Packey Webb Ford as the lower bidder in the amount of $60,330 total for the 2.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badura,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes.
Final action this evening is a recommendation to continue our contract with JAR Consulting. They are a lobbyist group based in Springfield who specializes in representing clients' interests in legislative matters. With the specter of financial hardship at the state level due to the COVID pandemic, budget cuts could become a reality in the near term. Certainly, this is exactly what President Quigley had expressed in his report. And so at this time, I think having representation in Springfield, representing our interest, as well as providing advanced knowledge of impending budget impacts will allow us to react quicker to any meaningful changes. For that reason, and that reason primarily, I would recommend we approve the consulting agreement with JAR Consulting of Springfield for the 21 calendar year in the amount of $3,000 per month.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Member Badura and second by Member Perro.
Other way around.
Other way around.
I can't hear you, JT.
It's the other way around.
Other way around. Got it. Okay. Shelley, you got that?
Two.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badura,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Ms. Nash, 13.1.
Good evening. Action Report 13.1 is a consolidated action report. This evening, I am seeking your request or seeking your approval on 98 items for certified personnel, 78 items for class personnel, and 1 item for classified administrative personnel.
Is there a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Member Perro, Member Sikora. If there's no discussion, a roll call vote would be in order.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Member Badura,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Ms. Nash.
Thank you. Action Report 13.2 is resolution number 2106, authorizing the dismissal of educational support personnel employees for reasons other than reduction in force.
Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none. Roll call vote, please.
Member Badura,
Yes.
Member Campbell,
Yes.
Member Perro,
Yes.
Secretary Sikora,
Yes.
Vice President Zach,
Yes.
President Quigley.
Yes. Information reports, Ms. Campbell, or Ms. Kinder. Unless you want to give them, Liz, fire away.
No, thank you.
I got that covered. All right, so information report 14.1 is our Return Together 365U update to our Board of Education and Community. As has been our standard practice over the last several months, I'd like to just spend a few moments discussing our current status, provide information related to our current status of full remote learning through winter break, and answer any questions and discuss next steps. So the last 6 weeks have been a combination of celebrations of successful transitions on site, of our staff working very hard to support our students in our special programs, students in targeted groups and at-risk populations. I'll tell you, it was such a good feeling to see students in our classrooms, to see us learning and adjusting and adapting, and so many successes that we were very eager to build upon. And at the same time, our staff has been working very hard, as has our students and our families at home, supporting the continued remote learning from home. We're getting better at it. I'm not saying it's getting easy, but we're learning a lot, and we're continuing the charge in that regard as well. And so while we were anxious to continue to build on the momentum that we had started with our special programs, we were in the unfortunate position to make the decision to move into full remote learning for all Valley View students. That was announced last Thursday, and this is in effect effective today through the end of winter break. And of course, I'm going to discuss that a little bit more in detail. So we remain in this position where we are working toward hybrid learning, of course, and then we have this pause for remote learning. And at last board meeting, I introduced the concept of adaptive pause, and that's just a fancy term for saying that due to the conditions outside of the district and the community, and as well as the conditions inside of the district, there will be times that we have to make a choice to either as a whole district or by program or targeted group to say that we need to take a pause and move into remote learning until it is fully safe for us to be together on site. And unfortunately, as we were moving through remote learning transition and needing to move into hybrid learning, we did need to announce this adaptive pause that will be in effect through winter break, at which time we will reassess. I shared with the community the adjusted timeline with this phase of adaptive pause, full remote learning, and then holiday break, and then at which time then we will be working back into our transition into hybrid. I do want to reemphasize that this is not an easy decision to be made. It's not a decision that we made lightly. It was very difficult to not be able to continue the momentum, to be able to continue to see our kids that had so desperately wanted to come back and welcome more students back as well. And we fully recognize the difficulty that this places on families for a prolonged period of remote learning, especially for our learners who need us the most. But unfortunately, we could not create a bubble, and the community transmission levels are at a rate as such that this was the right choice. And I have always said from the get-go, the health and safety of our students and staff will be the priority, as is the learning and being flexible and adapting wherever we can. So this, unfortunately, is the place where we find ourselves. I did want to briefly touch upon the metrics and remind the community that this information is available publicly in the Illinois Department of Public Health website. Our region data, as you hear in the news and as you hear from the daily press conferences or the news articles that come out after the governor's press conferences, is continuing, the surge is continuing to trend in the wrong direction. And while we fully expected a fall surge, I don't think anyone quite expected it to be this high, this quickly, but this unfortunately is where we find ourselves as a community. And so we are at a 7-day rolling average for Region 7 of 19.8%. And county-wise, which we watch very closely, we are at a 17.5% positivity rate, and this is at a substantial level. And this makes operating inside, despite our best efforts with contact tracing, symptom screening, it increases the likelihood that individuals have had direct exposure or come into contact or will become ill themselves. And so that, of course, raises additional challenges for us during the district. We're seeing those new cases continue to trend, as well as youth cases continuing to trend up. Our staff and families have been doing a great job of reporting to let us know so that we have as much as possible a good view on what our internal metrics look like, and those cases continue to trend up as well, unfortunately. We do look at our zip code data. Those are the immediate areas surrounding our Bolingbrook and Romeoville communities, and we are seeing similar trends of what's happening with our positivity rate here. At 15.62%, that's a substantial level of community transmission. That means that our families are being impacted, that our staff are being impacted either in our immediate communities or in the communities where they live. And to move into a hybrid model or to continue to add students on site, that presents a significant challenge to work against what we are seeing in terms of the community transmission. I wanted to present just a quick visual overview of where we've been since we've been implementing our hybrid and where we are today. And as you can see, those trend lines, that's in the second column there, for all of the metrics that we watch from a region, county, zip code, and internal district level continue to trend upward very dramatically. And so from where we were when we began discussing hybrid and truly planning for that rolling implementation in September and October to where we are now, there's been significant increases. Our internal metrics remain available to the public in terms of active staff and student cases. That is available on our website. There's a link where staff can access that. In full transparency, we want to share that information because it's an important part of the picture in determining what is occurring within the district. We do ask our staff and students to report to help us keep a pulse on what that impact is and then what the likelihood of an impact in district. We've done a very good job, I have to say, in terms of controlling transmission in district. But as community transmission increases and as our more and more individuals are exposed or ill themselves, that becomes harder and harder, even in terms of contact tracing and quarantining individuals who have had direct exposure or isolating individuals. And it's taken a significant toll in a very short amount of time on our staff. And so that is something that we always have to be cognizant of, not just from a staffing and logistical perspective, but also from the well-being and health of our staff. And we also know for our families who have been reporting to us that our families are being impacted as well. And so this slide just breaks down, in addition to what we look at in terms of the community metrics, what we've been seeing in district. In terms of isolation, we continue to see our staff cases increase, and there you see the numbers of our known staff positive cases at 35 active and known student at 74 active. And then in terms of quarantine, this is a significant number. Within the active quarantine within the last 14 days, we have 264 staff members who are quarantined. And so, like I mentioned, beyond the health perspective, this also presents significant challenges with staffing as well. And so while we don't, with this level of community transmission, anticipate that there would be something different occurring within the district, we did reach a point where, from the health and safety perspective, due to the community transmission level, as well as the direction we're moving in with our metrics internally, that we had to take this adaptive pause. We will, of course, continue to assess and reassess over the period of this pause. We do watch the research and the science very closely in terms of what's expected over the holiday seasons, the holiday weeks that are up ahead. We do hope to be in a place of at least moderate, if not minimal, community transmission so that we can once again restart our transition to hybrid and bringing our special programs on site. And stable district metrics plus a stable level of community transmission will, of course, allow for this to occur. It certainly is a community effort. It's an effort that I hope that people are taking very seriously because it's something that together we can make an impact to get to a place where we can bring our students back to us, and then once they return, ensure that they are able to stay back in school with us where they belong. We do watch and continue to use the thresholds established by the Illinois Department of Public Health to have these conversations about, is it okay, are we in an okay place to begin to transition? And so I wanted to include this in the presentation so that there was just a general knowledge of these metrics that we watch to make these decisions. And we will continue to communicate regarding our status once we move along throughout the upcoming weeks. And then when we are set to finalize that projected timeline or begin any transitions, we will be, of course, continuing to communicate with our families, with our staff, and with the community. So that is something that we are committed to do throughout this process. We know this is not the position that anyone wants to be in, but we certainly know that we are going to continue to work together to get through this and get to a point where we can bring our kids back to us and have our kids in school where we know that they are best served. So I just wanted to allow any time for questions or any discussion related to our current status.
So I don't have any questions. I just have a comment. So I know everybody's seen the news and there's always new reports. I just want to put this in some perspective. So in Illinois, I get a report on this pretty much every day. there have been 585,000 cases, people testing positive. Currently, in Illinois, there's 5,581 people hospitalized because of COVID. There's been over 10,000, almost 10,800 deaths as a result of COVID. And currently, there's 515 Illinoisans on ventilators. If you take it serious, you wear the mask, you do the things, you isolate, you separate, all those things. If you take it less serious, maybe you do some of those things some of the time. Some people think that it's not real, whatever. I would challenge you to ask somebody who has a family member who's been sick. This thing's been around long enough that you don't have to go too far to find somebody who has gotten sick. And unfortunately, we've lost a couple people in our school district who were employees to this disease. So we're going into this Thanksgiving season. This is not, in any stretch of the imagination, anybody wants any of this. If we want to get our kids back into these buildings, if our teachers want to get in front of their students live instead of videos, we have to do better than what we're doing. It's that simple. We have to take it serious, give it 6 weeks, get through the end of this semester, get into next year and see what it looks like. Fortunately, the positivity rates in the last 48 hours are coming down, but they're still, what did you say, 14.5%? So we're something in that neighborhood, 14.7% from last week. Folks, we can do better than what we're doing. I have friends who are bar owners, restaurant owners, small business owners. My heart goes out to those folks and the people that work with them and for them. We have to try and take care of those folks as well. But by the same token, we need to focus on what we need to do right here. And what we need to do right here is hopefully get these buildings open in the safest possible manner that we can. Rachel, Gary, a lot of other people who are not here tonight for obvious reasons, are working their behinds off. Vic and I spent 2.5 hours on the phone with Rachel last week in one day trying to decide if this is the right thing to do, and if we're going to do it, we need to get this done. We were talking about doing it a week later than we did. We needed to get in front of this. We can't have staffing issues. It's all of this and then some. So I want to commend you guys again for all the efforts that go into this. And folks at home, do the best you can. And I'm not asking you to think the same way I think. I'm just telling you what I'm seeing and how it impacts our community and our school community in particular. So if you can buckle down a little longer, use your Purell or whatever you use. Keep your mask on when you're around people that you're not around all the time, and just do your best. So that's my 2 cents worth on this. So Rachel, I really do want to let you guys know. Gary too, thank you guys for your efforts. So, and everybody else that I can see on the screen, thank you guys for all the stuff you've done in the background too. So next, high school summer program. Is that Adam?
Yeah, I just need to unmute.
Oh, Nita.
No problem. Talking and was on mute. Anyway, yes. 14.2 high school summer school program. Sorry. This is a program that's brought to you every year for information and approval. And this is the projected for high school summer school program for 2021, both at BHS and RHS. So information is being provided in reference to the general high school program and the district driver education program. Valley View will offer several different summer school options for all of these students to recover credit for students who have failed and for curriculum advancement. Also, we'll be offering driver's education. It's supposed to be offered for during a 3-week session of summer school. It will be offered at Romeoville High School next year. The tentative dates for these courses will be June 7th through June 25th, 2021, Monday through Friday, 7:30 through 11:45. And the remainder of this information report outlines tuition cost and outlines staffing needs and budget needs. I'll be happy to answer any questions between this time and next time. Any questions?
Thank you. Next, special education extended school year program.
Okay, again, this information has been presented prior to seeking approval for a special education extended school year, ESY, for the 2021 school year. Background, the ESY program is for a limited portion of special education population. Students must exhibit considerable regression of learned skills and inability to recoup the loss in a reasonable period of time as determined by their individual education plans, or IEPs. The program from early childhood will be located at Valley View Early Childhood Center. The ESY program for elementary students will be located at RC Hill. And for middle school and STEP students will be located at Romeoville High School. The calendar will be from June 10th through July 8th, 2021. Class hours are 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. Monday through Friday. The rest of this information and action report outlines the staffing needs, the budgetary needs. In addition, transportation and how we're funded by Medicaid and local funds. Also, transportation will be provided and we will be reimbursed for transportation.
Anybody have any questions?
Any question? No?
All right. If you do, you know who to call.
That's
School
right.
calendar, who's got that?
All right. Did someone have a question?
Who's got the calendar?
Me, I'm next. It's me.
Oh,
It's me continuing on. All right, so 14.4, the 21-22 school year calendar. So this is a draft calendar for 21-22 school year. It's being brought forth as information prior to seeking approval. The goal was, of course, to create a calendar conducive as possible, providing students with quality instructional time. We had a diverse group of stakeholders as members of this committee. We had certified and classified staff members, we had parents, and we all came together and ensured that we abided by state guidelines and looked at local holidays, election days, collective bargaining agreement, et cetera, to put this calendar together. So it was a great meeting, great work on the part of everybody. We also put this calendar out for public preview and comments about 2.5 to 3 weeks prior to this meeting, about 3 weeks. We did receive about 3 comments last time I checked, and 2 comments were from parents. One was from a staff member, and all the comments surrounded spring break and surrounded spring break and, school starting a little bit later. Nevertheless, I did answer all of those individuals in reference to our calendar. Seems like we fulfilled the spring break need. A lot of people were asking that we be aligned with some of our neighboring districts, and we will be by presenting this at the last week of March. And that is it. Any questions?
Great. Next.
All
Board
right.
policies.
All right, 14.5. The following policies are being presented for review prior to bringing forth for approval. Policies have been reviewed for updates with the Illinois Association of School Press Policy Services and legal counsel. So we have 3 policies related to school board: 2.30 school district elections, 2.110 qualifications, term and duties of board officers, 2.120 board member development. 2 policies in reference to instruction: 6.300 graduation requirements, 6.310 high school credit for non-district experience course substitutions, and 3 policies related to students: 7.70 attendance and truancy, 7.150 agency and police interviews, and 7.260 exemption from physical activity.
Anybody have any questions? Same as before. If so, you know who to talk to. Every
Okay.
Student
Yeah, they forgot to
Succeeds
answer the
Act,
question. Yes, so,
and our schools that are in that program.
all right. I think this is last. Yay. So 14.6, Every Student Succeeds Act, school improvement reports. So last month, I spoke with you in reference to some of our schools and our designations that they had received. I referenced 3 schools in particular, Woodview Elementary, Oakview Elementary, and Irene King Elementary. In 2018, Oakview and Woodview were designated as underperforming. However, fortunately, they're now commendable. In 2019, Irene King was designated as underperforming, and the name has been changed to targeted. As such, Illinois State Board of Education offers financial resources to these schools for the next 3 years in order for them to help them improve. All 3 of these schools completed the Illinois Quality Framework Supporting Rubric, and they also completed school improvement reports. These reports and this rubric must be reviewed by the board and approved prior to the schools being able to receive the funding from the state. All schools that I've mentioned are engaged in cycles of continuous school improvement and have current school improvement plans and documents their goals, strategies, and action steps for improvement. Any questions? I'll be glad to answer them.
No questions? Moving down the agenda, board policies.
Similar to Nita's report, we've got 2 policies that we're bringing to you for first reading. First one relates to student transportation. The second, a waiver of student fees. Both of these policies have not been updated since 2008, so it's been some time. We have reviewed these with the legal counsel and cross-referenced them with the Illinois Association of School Press Policy Service. And so if you've got any questions, be happy to answer those either now or before the next board meeting, where we hope to bring them back for final review and approval.
Any questions of Gary on this? If not, you can talk to him or Liz or John if you do have questions as well. New Gary?
Yeah, final information report this evening relates to our new finance, human resource, and payroll solution, commonly referred to as Enterprise Resource Planning, or ERP, and that's the acronym I'd like to use as we continue to discuss. Our current ERP system and associated human capital-based system supports all our key finance, human resource, and payroll operational and reporting data functions of the district. There's a long list of those types of reports and things that these programs manage. I won't read those to you. Our current system has been in place since 1984 and has served the district well for many years. It is a modular application operating on a legacy user interface, and needless to say, it's pretty old, 36 years old. The support of the human resource information is a much more disparate collection of data systems. These are very compartmentalized legacy systems with major challenges in efficiently inputting and extracting all the data. In turn, access for staff to their own personal information is complex, requiring a username and password to many systems rather than a modern solution which presents all information as a single, easily accessible location. Processes are also subject to higher probability of errors when based on manual actions. With implementation of a new system, we're hoping these subsystems would be replaced. 5 main catalysts in terms of recommending a replacement of the system: removing the disparate and inefficient staff information and operational infrastructure, complex data structure, and multiple application support. Right now, all of that falls to our tech department, which must support and maintain these legacy systems. A new modern system obviously would be much easier to support and manage rather than having many different disparate systems. No single source of personal information for educators, administrators, and support staff. I mentioned that earlier. A one-stop shop would certainly be a better solution. A client-based platform which is neither mobile-friendly nor web-based. Obviously, in the age we find ourselves, everything is moving to the cloud, and web-based, being able to access via a mobile device. The system right now, not so much. And legacy hardware. Right now, we had a transition off what's commonly known as a AS400, sort of like a mainframe architecture, very antiquated, lost the support on that device. We had to kind of pivot and find a solution, an interim solution, until we can get a new ERP system in place. So Again, a lot of scrambling on the part of technology to maintain the systems that are really beyond their useful life. I think it's important to mention that the district has successfully implemented a data warehouse and a new student information system, or SIS. That was a couple years ago where we brought that to you. Infinite Campus is the product that we're using to maintain all of our student attendance, student grades, and student information. And so again, a nice modern architecture for that need there. The criteria for a new ERP system: it's got to be integrated, comprehensive, easy to use and intuitive, easy to manage with a cohesive infrastructure, again, web-based and mobile-friendly, and we wanted to make sure that it was currently successful in supporting K-12 large unit districts for a minimum of at least 3 years. We had workflows that we focused on primarily in the finance area, human resources, payroll, and time, attendance, and scheduling. We had 3 vendors that we shortlisted, if you will. They were evaluated on which criteria they met. We narrowed that down to 2. There's a lot of information in the report related to how those 2 vendors were evaluated and scored based on a number of features and vendor feedback on the categories that we were looking for them to fulfill. Obviously, cost is a big factor here. We looked at a long-term solution in terms of a 5-year plus financial plan. This would enable us to lock in a guaranteed rate for the time frame, ensuring financial certainty for future planning. Not inexpensive. We're looking at products that over the 5 years are over $1 million of support to implement and keep updated. The nice part about this is it is cloud-based, so we are not responsible for the technology that would house it. There is redundancy built into both of these applications, and we continue to evaluate to make sure that we receive the best product that will meet our needs long-term. I don't know if it will be a 36-year implementation like our old product, but again, certainly we got our money's worth out of our old product. And so, again, something that is sorely needed. It's long overdue. We've finally been able to put the focus on this product after implementing the student system, and now it's time to do the back of the house as well. Just want to make a final comment in terms of all of the legwork that went into this. There's a large amount of people whose feedback we sought. There's a list there in Appendix 1. Various departments had a hand in providing feedback as to what was important to them, what would make their life easier and better, more efficient, and provide that turnkey solution that we're looking for, and able to provide data to anyone who needs it. And certainly, I think with this COVID pandemic, the need for at-hand data has been more critical than ever. And so with that, I would answer any questions you might have, and we're hoping to bring something back to you at the December meeting, certainly no later than the January meeting, with a comprehensive recommendation.
I have a question, Gary. I noticed that the 2 finalists, one had a higher rating on how many of the favorites they had, but the other one had the higher rating on what you guys needed the most. So which one do you look at as the most important?
Yeah, great question. And it is like many decisions that need to be made. If we could combine the 2 products into one, we'd have the perfect product. Unfortunately, there are strengths and weaknesses in each of the solutions that we're considering. Some do one thing a bit better than the other. The other might do something a bit different than the other. Really depends on who you're talking to. You know, we're trying to have a solution that satisfies human resources, the business office, whether they be in accounts payable, bookkeeping, certainly in payroll. And so when you're soliciting all of that feedback, again, it really depends on who's giving you their input and their opinion. Again, I think both of these products are very well entrenched in schools throughout the region. We've reached out to many of the surrounding districts. Everyone to a district is pleased with their service and their implementation of the end result. And so really, I don't think we can go wrong coming off of such a legacy system that we're currently on. We all recognize that it'll be a huge improvement. And so I don't know that there's a right answer. It's just that it's just different, right? And so both of these products, again, very well regarded in the profession, in the school back office, if you will. And we're just trying to gather everyone's opinion so we can make a good recommendation that most everyone will feel good about.
Okay, my other question is, I noticed that you might need to get a second source in order to get everything that we need. Is that right also?
Yeah, so currently we're using Kronos for our timekeeping and attendance for payroll purposes for a lot of our support personnel. We considered not renewing with them and seeing if either of these products would have a timekeeping solution. Unfortunately, Kronos is a very, very strong product, and so we would like to stay with them. After vetting both of these in that area, we felt like Kronos was the better solution for a host of reasons. And so, again, we weren't sure if we would be able to stay under a one-stop shop with either the Skyward or Infinite Visions. But again, we did look at it to see if we could, reduce the number of systems that we have to support and potentially save us some dollars in that regard.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? If not, you've got at least a couple weeks, if not a month or so before they get to the bottom of this. So thank you, Gary. 36 years. I would just caution when you make that transition, make sure you got all the IT people around. Legal Services Report, which you all came here for.
I have no report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. O'Driscoll. AFT report. Apparently no report. Valley View Council report. Same. Office Personnel Council report. Any old business before the board this evening? Any new business before the board this evening? Any questions from the public on actions we have taken this evening? Please come down, state your name, where you're from.
Hi. Sorry, can you guys, I don't want to touch this thing. So.
Microphone. Is it on? Tap it.
Yes,
You can hear.
we can hear.
Sorry if you can't see me, although it looks like I'm on camera somehow.
There you go. Get close.
Okay. I kind of have just a suggestion. You gave that little talk earlier about kind of everybody staying on top of things and staying motivated and staying safe. And something that I've noticed, and it's mostly on social media, which is probably on me. I should probably
I'm
get
sorry,
off.
could you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Kara Jorgensen. I have 2 kids in the district at BJ Ward. Sorry about that. And I've noticed that, and this is true of the people running our state and the people running our country, is that we focus so hard on all of the negative things that are going on right now that we're not really providing a lot of encouragement. And you guys are in a position, you have this huge audience that you get to deal with every day, and you have the opportunity to encourage people to be safe and be smart. And I have little kids, and I know that for the most part, they're just scared all the time. They don't want to go anywhere, they don't want to see anyone. And it's because everyone is telling them to be afraid. And I know that we are in a situation right now where things don't look good. They're much worse than they've been, worse than we expected them to be. And I think you guys have done a fantastic job. I think you've weighed the pros and cons of safety and what's right for the students, and I think that's awesome. I just think that we could use this opportunity to tell people they're doing a good job. I run a business and I have employees, and there are moments where I know that I can point somebody out for making a mistake or doing the wrong thing. I could discipline them for it, or I could sit down and find a way to encourage them to improve and use positive reinforcement. And it's just a suggestion that you take that angle. You know, I know we're trying to aim for a goal. There's a threshold, like you said, that we want to hit before kids can come back to school, and I think that's very reasonable. I just think even if you just use your social media to encourage students to be safe and be smart and tell them that they're doing a great job and that they're keeping people safe and healthy, that's just going to go a long way. As adults, we can sort through all that information, and I can look at the data and I can see, where's the risk and what can I eliminate from my day or what can I be safer doing. But kids don't really know what to do with this information. If I tell my kids that people are dying, they'll be terrified. They'll never leave the house again. I don't even know if my kids would have gone back to school 2 weeks ago because I don't know if I could have talked them into it. And it's because all they're hearing all the time is how bad things are. That's all. I just wanted to make that suggestion.
Thank you.
Yep.
Duly noted, and I got a couple ideas I'll talk with you about on that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you saw the last meeting, but everybody that's on that screen that you can now see, and everybody up here, and there's a great deal of appreciation that goes out to all of our staff for all the efforts. We know this isn't easy.
Oh yeah,
And again,
definitely.
this is not what anybody wanted, but that duly noted, because it's not just, yes, we certainly appreciate staff, but I have a son who's in high school and he wants to be back in school, but he gets it as well.
Right.
And, so I definitely appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Steve, may I say something? Diane was talking about, can we just share that now, even though we said we're going to happen next week, about the positive things about the young people singing, and that's going to come back next week. That is something that's encouragement that we are working on it. So I just thought that might be something that Diane or Superintendent Kendrick might want to even share now, even though it's going to happen later.
I don't have that, and I don't know if the tech people are prepared to share.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying sharing it, just telling them that some of the things that, that these young people were working on and doing, just as, like she said, as a positive outlook.
So one of the things, to the woman who just spoke, I'll just say that I had suggested, I saw a video yesterday of our Romeoville and Bolingbrook High School choirs, combined choirs, singing just a lovely, beautiful, beautiful piece. And we are actually going to show that at our next board meeting, because when I saw it and heard it, I thought the first thing that came to my mind was, what can we do to showcase our students in doing the things that they can do during this time when everyone's telling them you can't do, you can't. Show what they are doing and the positive things that they are doing and what they are learning and how they are contributing. And so I encourage you to look. We are going to show that video, I believe, at our next board meeting, December 14th or something like that. I'm not sure what the date is. And so I would encourage you to attend or watch our board meeting that night so you're able to see that video. It is really quite impressive.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jim Fisher. I have a student in middle school, 2 students in high school. I want to piggyback on that and say that you really should talk about the fall sports and how successful they were at the next board meeting as well.
Thank you.
And about actually what sports are coming up during the winter period, which was not discussed tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving down the agenda, if there's no more questions from the public, any announcements by the board?
I have an announcement. And I forgot to make a report. The Equity Advisory Committee will be meeting every second Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. via Zoom. We did have our first meeting last month, and we had participants from every walk of life, and young people and everybody. So we were just an introduction, but we thank Assistant Superintendent White for leading this, and there is one spot if another board member wants to come along and join us.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have something.
Yes,
Go ahead,
I'd like to make the announcement about Hardhaven Outreach. H2O is hosting their annual 5K, but this time it's a anytime Cheesy Pretzel 5K, kind of like their golf outing was an anytime golf outing. Anytime between November 20th and November 28th, you can run or walk your 5K. You can go to www.cheesypretzel5k.org to register. Before November 27th. It's only $25. And just like in the past, H2O is offering teams who get together and they raise money for running the 5K. All that money can go to an organization of your choice. So I know in the past, there's been teams from different schools who have run, and the money that they've collected, has been put towards like maybe their makerspace lab or different things within their buildings. So I encourage people to join in this effort and have some fun and raise some money for your school.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I have something, two actually things. First of all, it's the Woolco Area Career Center, the first quarter student of the quarter reports. There's 6 of our students from Bolingbrook and Romeoville that are being recognized. One is Syed Martinez in the auto service from Bolingbrook, Michelle Garcia in the business logistics from Bolingbrook, Ziara Hansberg from a Certified Nurse Association, Bolingbrook, Yatsria Sabrina, the EMS program in Bolingbrook, Annabelle Pichi, the Intro to Health Professions from Romeoville, and Jawar Syed, a medical assisting out of Bolingbrook. They were all recognized through Wilco. And I just want to wish the staff and the board members and everybody else to have a happy and safe Thanksgiving weekend, and try and enjoy your family when you have this long weekend.
Thank you. Any announcements by the administration?
I do have a couple. November 15th was the statewide observance of school board members in Illinois. And few people truly understand the time and commitment that school board members must dedicate to fulfill the duties of this elected and volunteer role. So we are grateful for our board members here in Valley View School District who serve in this vital role, which has brought new and complex challenges in 2020, yet they continue to persevere to be a voice for our community and serve the children of Valley View School District. We would like to thank you all for your service.
Thank you.
And I also, too, would like to wish our community, our staff, our families, a restful, peaceful Thanksgiving. Despite the challenges that we are encountering as a community, I'm extremely grateful for all of you, family, staff, and students who continue to partner together. I think we are doing a really good job despite the circumstances, and I think we're doing our best to figure it out and take it day by day. So thank you for your comments, Ms. Jorgensen, and I certainly agree that that is something that we can always improve upon, and it's certainly necessary because we're people. You know, we're all humans and we're doing our best, and despite how hard it is, we have to continue to keep going together. So I thank you for that, and I'm extremely grateful for our Valley View community. I think despite all of our challenges, I think we have a whole lot to be grateful for, so I thank you for that.
Any announcements by the public? Seeing none, hearing none. A motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Have a great evening and hopefully a safe Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And we will see you in the December meeting.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.